Go live, though. Looks like we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Uncommon Show. All right, my brother Chad Richards to my right, Jeremy Mace to my left. All right, we are here.
The Maester.
The Maester. You'll mace your face, baby. Hey, look here. If you guys join us, thank you for our second live episode. Hopefully, we've got our camera glitches fixed. That'll be up to the Lord. So we'll see what happens from there. But look here. The point of us coming on here is to be able to talk to you about just regular, everyday Christian stuff without the rhetoric and all the religious language.
Christian stuff.
Yeah, all that Christian stuff.
The stuff.
To get it in there.
Yeah.
So
what kind of stuff?
Oh, just
I think it's more of a
word.
I think it's the
yes,
word
really,
in kind of layman's terms, right? Without all the religious fluff. Is that right?
Without all the religious fluff.
Yeah.
Just modern, everyday man, everyday woman talk.
Got it.
But we are here. We are excited to have you with us tonight. Tonight's subject is going to be, by the end of this video, we want you to have a good understanding on how to set boundaries in your life and how important boundaries are. Boundaries with you mean, I guess I'm trying to keep it in the script, man. But it's
You're doing great, man.
So
You're
doing
great,
Wow,
man.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
All right. Well, we'll talk
boundaries
about
are very important in life.
What are our
a
topics
lot
going
of
to be
ways.
about boundaries? Let's see. We got friends. We got work. We got family. So different places. We might even talk about boundaries at church.
You know,
Ooh,
you never
yeah.
know. You never know where these
Step
things
on those
go.
religious
Never know
toes.
where we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Before we
roll.
get started, real quick, I want to talk about spring. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's called Springtime Artisan.
Listen, I gotta stop you for a minute. It is not called artisan.
I don't know what I mean.
It's called artesian.
Artesian.
Okay, man.
Okay,
I know y'all asked me here to class up the joint, but we got to get some vocabulary.
I mean,
going.
we're not.
I thought it
What
was
is
on
this?
Facebook.
Columbia County Schooling?
This
What
is
this?
yeah.
Come
It
on,
is.
guys.
It is. But I mean, is that not what is ARTESIAN? So you're saying it's artesian.
Well, if it was artisan, it would be spelled ARTI.
Okay.
This
Well,
is
I'm learning
artesian.
something every day. Bottled right here
RTC.
in Appling, Georgia.
See, there was a crystalline rock aquifer, and they found the water in there. And
Crystalline rock
now,
aquifer.
and that means it's artesian.
Got
because
it.
It comes
Okay.
from a special place.
From the aquifer.
It's a magical place where they
Yeah,
find
it
this
is.
water.
It is. It's good stuff.
It is great, sodium
Yes.
free, because nobody
Yes.
wants to drink salt water.
Right. No doubt. We're not
Yeah,
on the
if it
coast.
wasn't
Now,
so
Russ,
water-
what kind of water do you have? If you don't
I
mind?
have alkaline.
Who?
I have alkaline.
Okay.
Alkaline.
Well, there we go.
Alkaline.
So, I mean,
remember
you see?
remember
Well, on the
alkaline?
next
I mean,
show,
there was
I'll
a
teach you
song
how to
about-
pronounce that.
There was a song about that in the 80s. It was alkaline. Oh, I swear.
Oh, Eileen.
That's it. Alkaline.
All right.
All right,
What was
so
the band?
dad joke.
What was the band?
That
This is
was,
Midnight Runners.
yeah.
I will not lose any music stuff.
I
Being a
love
DJ for
Come
30
on.
years.
I love it.
Oh, I swear.
it.
All right,
Roll
so dad jokes.
We start the show off with each of us have a dad joke, and the other two are not to laugh, and the winner gets another free water.
You get a free.
I'm already a winner.
Yeah, you get a free. What is it called again?
Artesian,
Artesian. You get a free artesian or alkaline.
Let's roll with dad
Okay.
jokes.
which is a race from Star Trek. I'm pretty sure. The Alkalinians.
I quit. I relapsed.
All right, so I'm going to start with the dad joke.
Okay.
Nobody can laugh. Okay, you can't laugh. All right, so it's going to be difficult not to laugh.
That's everything funny
I'm-
about
All right, so
Keeping it straight.
what did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet?
We came out of the closet.
He
Or
jumped out of the closet
it. That's
to
weird.
scare some people, I guess.
What? I have no idea.
Surprise!
Supplies?
Yeah, he did.
It's not funny.
Okay. All right. Well, you're laughing.
All right, I got one for you guys. Because it's Sunday, I know y'all love some football, right? Not maybe Sunday football, y'all like Saturday football. But
Yeah, Falcons lost today. But
I'm sorry, the Chiefs won again.
Yeah, they always did.
Because Taylor Swift.
Yes, the power of Taylor Swift in Germany, all the way in Germany. We played in Germany today. All right. What did the football coach say to the broken vending machine?
I don't know.
Give me my quarterback.
That's pretty good.
I'm not going to relate a different
That's
joke.
pretty
It goes-
good.
It goes with that.
That is
but
pretty
listen,
good.
I don't want to be inappropriate.
I have to admit, that's a good one.
Last one, simple and sweet. Why'd the cat fall out of the tree?
Because he slept.
She was dead. Oh, that's when he fell out of the tree. Something happened.
I'm sorry.
You guys-
Y'all win
That was a good
that.
one.
Any animal lovers watching, I apologize. For my
Totally.
friends.
I
That
just
was a good one.
can I tell you guys? Can I deviate and
That's
tell
a dad joke
stories?
for real.
Um,
Not a Russ joke.
I don't know if I can tell this. I can't tell this cat. We're gonna get kicked off YouTube. We're not going down that road. Ask me after, and I'll tell you the story. Kim's brother. Okay.
Give it now. Right.
All
now.
right. Here's what happened.
I get kicked off. We get kicked
Kim.
off. So it won't be the first time.
It was good.
Kim had a stepmom. Stepmom loved this cat.
Mm.
Kim's brother would terrorize this cat, chase it around. It was all kinds. This cat was getting old, was getting blind, bad news, smelled bad. She'd feed this cat. She loved this cat. It was. I'm not a cat friend
I'm not
either.
a cat
Anyway,
guy.
so Steve, not a cat guy either. He would terrorize the cat. This cat's getting old and irritated and whatever.
Sure.
Unfortunately, Steve's dad comes home and the cat has died.
Mm.
So, like any good man, he takes the cat
Mm.
and he goes and he buries the cat in the backyard. Because that's what you do, especially you live in Jackson.
The brother or the dad?
The
Not
dad
on
does.
pet, not
The
on
dad
Pet
does.
Cemetery, you know.
That's a dad's job. I
So,
guess.
Kim's brother comes to the house and he's walks around to the back and his dad's burying the cat. And Steve's like, oh, what a shame the cat died. And so Steve goes, I'm going to go find a spot. And
What a shame.
Steve's dad goes, what do you mean? He goes, I want to watch you tell my stepmom.
This cat.
So the stepmom comes home and says, and of course Steve's watching. His dad says, "Oh, the cat died." Oh, she goes hysterical, man, and she cannot believe that he did not let her say goodbye. And she's going on and on and on.
Mm.
So he digs up the cat, throws it on the porch, and says,
Say your
"Say your
goodbyes."
goodbyes."
God. Man, that sounds like something from Pet
I mean,
Cemetery.
What did she think was going to happen? When you die, you die. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, you know.
Why did the cat fall out of the tree?
He was dead.
He was
Bingo.
dead.
There you go.
That's a good
Sorry
one.
for you cat lovers. We know there are.
That is a really
There
good
are people that do like cats. You know that, right? They like them.
There are. There's a big
Wow.
argument on which is better, that or dog.
Well, that's
Either way.
that's not an argument. That's just a really bad set of misjudged people.
That's
That
it,
is.
man.
With
That
that,
really is.
Good
That's
job.
okay. Yeah, there
Good
you go.
job. Let's get on. We're tonight. We're talking about boundaries and the importance of setting boundaries, and how they are in your life, and what's the
So, Russ, in your life, I mean, in terms of friends and people in your life, have you found that it's been necessary to set boundaries at times?
This is probably the area that I messed up the most in. Several years back is because I didn't set boundaries because I looked at it as kind of being snobby. It was more for me like.
Did you know that you should have set boundaries?
No,
you didn't.
No, I had the attitude if someone else had a problem, it was my job to fix it, and I just felt like okay, I almost had like this false sense of maybe a calling.
Yeah.
That maybe someone else had an issue. I just felt like hey, God's put me in front of them to help them out with this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember Mom telling me one time she told me, she said, Russ, you open up and you help so many people out. She goes, they stab you in the back and you pull the knife out and you hand it back to them. I'll never forget her saying that. And I think
That was her way of saying you probably ought to set some boundaries.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
was it out of obligation?
I think it was out of love. Part of it. It was probably my own insecurity. It was probably the fact that maybe I could focus less on my own problems if I was helping someone else out.
Yeah.
Maybe that made me feel good. I don't really know.
Feel better about yourself because other
Yeah.
people had problems maybe as bad or worse in
Could
a way.
be,
Or,
yeah, man. It could have been a way. I think I was just trying to fill a gap or a void. And
What's interesting is that I was when we were talking about setting boundaries. I was thinking about I need to set boundaries so that other people can't come in or do things that they don't need to be doing. Have a protection thing, whereas really the boundaries need to be set to protect other people from me, possibly. And
That's
that's
true.
what you're saying. In a way, you needed to set some boundaries so that you weren't in other people's stuff, which was causing probably problems with them and problems with yourself.
correct.
So was
Wow.
this mainly people just reaching out, wanting help, needing guidance or
It
needing
was somebody if
just,
they needed a ride, if somebody had, especially when I was in and out of my battle with addiction.
right,
If someone else, I
or
really,
money or
money, or can you Uber me
assistance.
here?
Yeah,
Can you Uber me
right.
there? Just almost
There's
going
a
out of
fine
my
line
way.
there,
Yeah.
because you want to help people,
Oh yeah.
but yet,
But if you're not, and I wasn't, if you're not in your right mindset, and I wasn't, because I was angry at the world. I was angry at the world because I had a false sense of identity due to my own addiction problems.
right,
And what I was doing is saying the whole world has forgot about these people.
right,
God's put me here to help these people. That's not what God did.
right.
See, I was no good to anybody because I had this false sense of this superhero that I had to be, that I've made up this image in my mind, and it wasn't true.
Right.
So when I came back a year ago and were able to set true boundaries, because I was in a better place, I found out that I had enabled a lot of people. And when I say enabling, I'm talking about people who maybe could. I mean, I drove people to rehab when I was high, okay? Feeling good about myself for doing it. Now, helping people and bailing them out over and over only caused them to stay in addiction.
Right.
People later that I did not help, that I did not give money to, that I did not do that, or drew that line off, they recovered or found it themselves. So it was something that, do I carry it as guilt? I feel bad about it. I don't care anymore. I was just misled by my own spirit.
Well, God, you ask for forgiveness for all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So these are situations where people in your life that were friends that were in a bad spot, they didn't have any boundaries themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have any boundaries. So everything is just getting messed up and clashing because you don't have it set correctly. And rather than having a hard conversation, you're ending up enabling people.
That's right. That's right. And that was it. That's it. Chris, Stevens, good to see you on, man. Good evening to you, man. We appreciate you watching. Tyler, Big T, I love you, brother. I met Tyler at
Is that Hensley?
No, yeah. Hensley's
There he
there,
is.
man. Good
What's
to see
up,
you guys.
man?
Hey, thank you guys for watching. So we hope we can, if you got any questions or anything we can answer, we'll do our best to take a try at it. I think one of the things we want to talk about, we were setting boundaries. I guess I've kind of started it is with friends.
Yeah.
One thing now is one thing I don't do. If people try to get me on, I guess, Snapchat or Messenger or Facebook, or these are apps that I've deleted.
Okay.
So
you've got some boundaries that I feel like, what apps are you going to interface on?
I answer my text. Okay. I will check my Messenger, which especially stuff now doing the ministry and stuff like that, and I'll check them every few weeks.
Okay.
So
what about when one of these people from your old part of your life comes back up and wants something from you, wants to hang out, wants to do that? What do you do now?
Man, I really don't. It really just kind of stopped because I made myself not available. If there's a text,
well, that's a boundary.
If there's something, if my phone goes off at 2 a.m. while I'm now asleep, I'm in the bed by 11 o'clock, every night. Now if it goes off, or if there's something, I'm getting old, and not in spirit though. But now those calls are not answered. Okay. I have an idea. You can start when you've been through years of it. You can identify, hey, I need a ride, or hey, I'm not doing so good. Can you just? I'm like, listen, here I have resources on that computer. Right. There, I have a folder that has counseling resources. What it's called. Yeah. I do that use it for my life coaching when I'm life coaching with people. Now I can say yes. I'll answer that call. Maybe not at that moment, but answer it and say yes. Here's a place that you can get food. Here's a place that you can get clothes. Here's a place that you and your family can go shelter.
Not trying to solve it yourself,
right? But I can give you the resource. Yes, and I have been able to delegate that.
That's a boundary. That's a flow that you've set up there, which is good.
Right. Do you think God expects us to have boundaries in our lives?
Yes, I do. I think it's so important for survival. I mean, I know it's funny you just said that because you asked that Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This verse is emphasized on the importance of protecting your emotional and spiritual well-being. If I'm no good to my family, if I'm not good to myself, my family can, and I say family, I'm talking about maybe not even blood family. My circle of friends turned into a dot. And when you're doing well, it does a dot all by itself. I didn't do that. It's like, hey, I may not be the same guy that was as much fun anymore. I wasn't the guy who would get up at 2 a.m. and drive across town.
But you had your frat together.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
taking a year,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
been an ongoing thing in process. So, but I mean, I wouldn't take anything from those lessons. I would not go back, and anybody that I've helped in the past, I would not go back and undo it.
Right.
I wouldn't undo it because of what I learned, number one. Because number two, everybody that I did that with, I loved and I cared about. I still do to this day. I just don't have that relationship with them on a, like we have.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that scripture you're talking about guarding your heart. There's two aspects of that, right? There's the things that you watch and the things that you listen to and the media that you intake. And there's also your own thought life that's going on where you can make agreements with the enemy about certain things in your own mind. But then there is guarding your heart in relationships with friends, with coworkers, with family, where you are too open or you have allowed for some bad patterns like you had going on there to come in, and you didn't have the boundaries up. Those people from your old past life should know, hey, I can't get Russ to go do what we used to go do.
Yeah, those
Russ
days
is
are
not
over.
gonna. Yeah, those days are done.
Those days are
And
over.
Chris is some of your Tyler, man, I'm so proud of you, brother, and I appreciate you checking on me in those times. And I met Tyler in Michigan about 5 years ago at a place where we were both getting better. So Chris says here, God also gives the spirit of discernment. Chris, you're right on. He said, which I've learned to use here lately. And so proud to see where you've come from. Chris, I'm proud of you, man. That's one of my former players. I love him.
That's awesome.
And that's pretty neat to see. Good. Thank you guys for watching.
But also too, I mean, when we talk about friends, there's also another part of our lives that is just as important and probably sometimes even more intimate to us and day in, day out, and that's our family.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that could be the hardest to set boundaries with because, they are a part of you.
Right.
But
you need to be very open with your family. And you need to be transparent with your family. And you've got to be vulnerable around your spouse and your kids. But so that's what I immediately kind of get defensive. I'm like, oh man, why are you going to set boundaries around your family, Chad? So
I know.
What do you, are you talking about spouse and me? Or are you talking about just cousin that you don't like or the uncle that you
in general? I mean, I think for the most part, your family, wants what's best for you. I mean, I would hope so. Yeah. And more times than not.
If they don't, maybe that's where you need a boundary.
If not, then you need to really draw a quick boundary.
Yeah, and you got to go back to even family is not always blood because there's people just because I always kind of struggle with, and I don't have that issue with my family personally. I know people who've had family who are really some of the most toxic things for people. Yeah, especially when they're set in certain ways. Yeah. We were all taught our religious values by more than likely family. Yeah, and it's something that they were taught, they believed, and if we discover something different, it can create a big problem there.
And I think sometimes you've got to be able to know the difference in. The family that, when I talk about family, I'm talking about blood. Yeah. Okay. Family that really is wanting the best for you. And then some that really, are just toxic, and obviously the toxic ones you've got to cut off. I mean, you can't, I'm not saying cut them off because they're still your family, but you got to put them in their rightful place. You got to know that
they're saying blood is the most important thing.
Exactly.
But that's not the most important thing.
That's good.
Right?
What do you mean?
Doing the right thing. And the blood of Jesus is the most important thing.
Well, sure.
Just because I've got a blood relationship doesn't mean that they can bring me into something that's ungodly or wrong for my life.
Right.
And people try to leverage the guilt and that comment that blood is the most important thing. Right?
We're family. We're family.
Like
we're supposed to be family.
Right. That means snitches get stitches.
Right. We're gonna die together.
Things like exactly.
Right. See their cats dug back up again.
Am I gonna go help my family when they're in need? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Am I going to do something, inherently evil just because my family is doing it and go along with them? No, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to steal.
So then that goes as far as even your relationship with God. I mean, you may have people in your family that don't believe or don't have a walk with God, and you can't allow that to interfere with your walk.
Right.
You've got it. So I mean, it's.
But what if you got a family? What if you're in a family that is, you're in a Muslim family that is hardcore supporting Hamas and all this kind of craziness that's going on?
I think that you need to run, and you need to run as fast as you can.
And there's a lot of Muslims that are becoming saved, that is opening
Really?
their eyes to what's going on. Yeah, that's the thing. What happens in their families? I mean, that's a pretty quick boundary that you need to get up. You need to move your boundary all the way to another country or something.
Go.
It's time to
And I thought hummus what you put on. Like,
you need to get
hummus.
that big block eat. Go. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I just think that family can be the toughest part because of the fact that they are your relatives and they are your blood. Because, friends and things like that you talk about, I mean, I get it. That's important. But it's a little bit easier at times, I think, to kind of draw a line. With a family, it's kind of tougher because they are your blood.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I think. And that's where I think God, man, I'm so grateful for that. I've got a family that's supported me completely through everything.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who struggle with that, with even, it could be a spouse, it could be a sibling, it could be a parent. And it's a tough way, but you just got to make a decision. I mean, again, it goes back to that emotional intelligence that we've talked about before. If you're not right, if you're not 100%, if you're not any good, then you cannot be good to those people you love.
How do you handle boundaries with an ex-spouse?
Oh my gosh. You just roll the window up.
You can't do that if you've got a child with them.
It's tough, man.
That's a difficult thing.
Good gracious. We could go. I hate to say this, but you probably need to drink a little bit more than you do.
I'm just going to give everybody some advice. That's not a good idea.
That's not a good idea. Don't take that advice.
Is it important to set boundaries?
It is,
with an ex-spouse.
As much as you can when you share a child.
I don't have an ex-spouse.
Okay.
I don't have this situation now.
I know a lot of people do.
I think it's something that you work on continuously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I know when I first had my divorce, I was not the guy I should have been I didn't help the situation. In other words, this past year, I've really worked on trying to do that.
Trying to set healthier boundaries for the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cause there's nothing worse for the kids. And then that's what you got.
It's all about the kids.
There's nothing worse for the kids if the parents on both sides can't put things aside, try to work together. Yeah. So, I can say right now, my children and my children's mother, it's cordial. It's good communication in between, back and forth. I am grateful where that stands as far as is our stuff today.
But I mean, if you're doing what
sounded like you, hold on, can I say?
Yeah.
So from a boundary standpoint, what we're talking about here, you realized you were part of the problem.
Yep.
You had to take some responsibility and make those adjustments.
Right.
That other person may or may not think that they have any responsibility in that, right?
Right.
And that it sounds like you've got a decent situation.
Mm-hmm.
You got two people that are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
There's some people that in this ex-spouse relationship situation that maybe are not doing the right thing, right? And you're trying to step up, and then you've got to deal with somebody that is.
Yeah. I mean, it's toxic, but I think at the core of that, as long as both of you are putting the children's best interest at heart, just try to get along as much as you can for the
you got to trust that other person is wanting to do that. And that's a difficult thing.
That's a difficult thing.
And if they're not,
I'm not advocating
you still
for vodka.
have to.
We'll dip every now and then.
If it's not, you still, I think still for the kids' sake, you still got to keep doing it right.
Maybe that's your new vodka line. You did a distillery called Boundaries.
I don't smell water in there, by the way. Yeah. It doesn't smell like
artesian.
That's
vodka.
all water.
It's Russian.
Vodka's clear as a bell. You know that, right?
Yeah,
but Jeremy, let me ask you this. I mean, now that we're on the subject of setting healthy boundaries in our lives, so what about the workplace? I mean, that's a part of your life too. That's very important.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, in some cases, you spend more time with the people you work with than you do with your family.
Yeah. You just choose to cuss them out instead of, what do you do?
Right. Well, no. I think there's two things that are extremely important when you're setting boundaries up and you're interacting with people at work. And it's trust and trustworthiness. All right. So what I mean by that is that if you are operating as a person, as a person,
vodka.
I know about love, but what comes after kissing?
Vodka and vodka.
Man, I'm going to try to get right back on track.
Get right on.
What you want to do is you want to be To be trustworthy is to be a person who is worthy of trust, which means you are operating. You might not get it right, but when you get it wrong and you've fallen down on an expectation or you've overstepped a boundary at work, you have to own it and you have to go and take responsibility for it. And what that does is it shows, whether it's your boss or a person you work with or a subordinate, it shows that you're willing to answer the gap in the expectation. They expected one thing, you didn't deliver. Yeah. It's up to you to go address that.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Now, on the other hand, when you're working with somebody and they say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. Yeah. What do you immediately do? In my case, I have judged them quite a bit.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll put them over in a category of, well, they just don't get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I make that agreement. But that's not how I need to operate at work. What's it say? Love, trust, right?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. So I'm gonna trust them.
Right.
And then if there's a gap of what should have happened, I need to go to that person and I need to talk about it. Because if I don't, everything begins to fester.
That's right.
So what I'm saying is,
it's communication.
It's communication, and if you're looking at boundaries, boundaries are walls, right?
Sure.
So the wall is mistrust, and I'm not going on that side of the wall. I'm staying on the wall of trust.
Right.
Okay. That's the narrow lane that you've got to operate in at work, and you have to be willing, just like with all of these things we're talking about. If somebody crosses a boundary, you have to be willing to have a hard conversation with them. And that's, I think I even said it about maybe on the last episode. That's what my dad taught me. It's like real men not playing football all the time. They're not shooting guns all the time. They're not tough or sleeping around or whatever.
But yeah,
they are willing to have hard conversations. And that's what handle these boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have the hard conversations, but it's got to be tempered in love. You can't just run all over people. So
son Garrett,
for sure.
Your boy's back watching.
That's my son right there.
What's
I
up,
could
Garrett?
not be more proud of that young man.
Yeah, man. Uncle Russ loves you, baby.
He always kept his room clean growing up.
No. But I'll tell you what though.
I
noticed something. So he moved back home. He's just finishing up school, so
he's had some boundaries.
He was up. Yeah, we've got some boundaries. He won't do the dishes to save his life. But I will tell you this: when he left to go off to school, and since he was gone for several years, and since he moved back home, he makes his bed every day. His room is clean.
Wow.
But he will not,
just like I taught you, buddy,
touch a dish. So that's something we got to, and those are conversations that we're going to have to have.
Allergies to dishes. Yeah. Well, I understand that happens.
What if everybody had allergies to dishes?
Well, you just
they'd be stacked all the way up in the kitchen, right?
That's right.
I've got them. That's what he wants.
Terribly embarrassed. Yeah. Remember, dump the old oil in the river. Only hunt endangered species. Right?
Yeah, well,
that's terrible.
Yeah, this has turned into a stand-up comedy night live. But again, I mean, so I think that the bottom line here is that God expects us to have boundaries in our lives, right? Healthy boundaries. Yes. And when you are dealing with an ex-wife, a little vodka, right? Every now and then, right?
Yes.
Just a little nip. And, but in terms of, making sure that you are dealing with things in your life in healthy ways, at work, with friends, knowing the difference between someone who's trying to take advantage of you and not wanting to enable them, right? I think we've covered a lot of good stuff tonight.
I would sum it up at two things: be willing to have a hard conversation and leave cats buried.
And if they fall out of the tree, they were dead. If not, they land on their feet. Hey, look here. I want to go. Anybody who's watching, we're talking about boundaries tonight and setting your own. If you have no idea or you've never set boundaries, because it was late in my life until I started doing it, I want to give you 5 things. I'm going to read 5 things off one at a time, and I want your input on them. Okay, so these are 5 tools.
Input.
Yeah, these are 5 tools I want to give you to be able to set boundaries, and we'll give you 20, 30 seconds apiece.
Okay, this is lightning round.
Lightning round. Okay, we got to give. We want to give you some first
speed dating.
To go home with. Lisa, good to see you. Lolita, good to see you. Love you guys.
Hit it, Snyder. Hit it.
All right. First thing you need is self-awareness. Understand your needs, values, limits. Reflect on what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable in different situations. Okay.
What?
Self-awareness.
Lightning round. Self-awareness.
I don't know.
Make a comment.
What kind of comments are you looking for?
Throw it to me. Let me show you.
Let me show you questions.
Yeah, it's okay. Let me show you how to do it.
Your input on self-awareness. Understand your needs, values, and limits. Reflect on what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable.
Okay, well, let me tell you. I'm totally comfortable with you throwing a impromptu question at me because I'm confident that I'm going to have a great answer.
Wow.
Whereas I feel sorry for Chad.
But he still hasn't answered it.
He has no confidence.
He still hasn't answered it. That's an answer?
Self-awareness. Here's the deal.
Lord help me.
You need to understand the context of where you are in the relationship. That's being self-aware. I know my role in this group. I'm not the host. Russ is the host.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
I am the third tag along that came along in this party. So
I'm the
I've got a
fourth.
role.
Right.
That's it. Self-aware.
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 Yeah,
Yes,
maybe I'll just come to you on the second one. So the first,
Hit me up with the next one.
the first tool is being self-aware. Know where you stand. All right. The second one, you said this a minute ago, clear communication. You just said, hey, it's okay to have a rough conversation. Yes. Clear communication, express your boundaries openly and assertively. Mm-hmm. In other words, people call me to go to the bar now. No, I don't do that. All right. I'm not going. Why? They know why. All right. So understanding your needs and limits.
The bar is not a good place for you.
You're right. You reflect on what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable in different situations. I'm sorry, that was the other one. Use I statements to communicate your needs and expectations of others. So clear communication. You have no problem with that.
No, I communicate well.
You have never had a problem.
I think the biggest thing sometimes is making sure that you temper that with love.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest problem that I think that I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's a lot of times in my life, I've just said it.
Yeah.
And
blunt.
Yeah, because I was raised that way.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily the best way to handle something.
Temper it.
It's you got to temper it in love, and you got to say it the right way, and you got to be able to be patient and loving and kind.
That's right.
With people, and and I think if you do that, you get a lot farther. What is that? What did my grandmother tell me one time? I think it was no, she never had cats. She hated cats. No, you get more out of people with honey. I think it was something like that. Yeah, it's a
honey. Shut up.
What honey?
Honey, yeah, honey.
What? Yes.
You just say honey before anything bad.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can say that.
That's it. I do want to tell you just go off track just here a little bit because we're doing good on time.
Oh boy.
I wanted the Richards family. I don't know how
you know boundaries on the show today.
Hey, I want to know. Listen,
what about
Richard? I've brought my house, purchased my houses from Chad's mom's. Greatest real estate.
Sure. Yeah. What about it?
But she has no filter.
Yeah.
Oh,
we went into someone's house while they were there in the living room. I'm like, okay, Kathy, just show me. We'll get in and get out because they're here with the couple sitting in there. She goes, now, Russ, if you move this house, you're going to want to. That picture will not go there. That will not go. That's extremely tacky.
And this carpet
is
really ugly.
They were sitting right there.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my
God.
Her.
But she though is got self confidence.
Yeah.
Oh,
she
yeah.
knows where she stands.
I love her, man.
Blunt, clear.
She's very straightforward. You know where you stand with.
She does love people.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a hard abrasive.
Yeah, it's a hard abrasive.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Listen, man, if you need to brush your teeth, she's going to tell you. Jeremy, you need to brush your teeth.
Hey, listen, somebody needs to tell me to brush my teeth.
All right, let's get back on. So 1 and 2. 1, self-awareness. 2, clear communication. The third thing, hands under. Third is consistency, Jeremy. Consistency. Be consistent in enforcing your boundaries. Avoid making exceptions that compromise your well-being or values. Consistency is huge.
You know why consistency is important? That's the currency.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
If we're in a relationship, I can be really cool the first time you meet me. Second time, I can come through for you. I can get something going. The only way we're going to earn trust and build a relationship is if I'm consistent in setting those boundaries and values.
No,
so
I
you
get
have
that.
to be steady.
Yeah,
and that's the case, right? If all of a sudden next year you wig out and regress back to your previous stuff, which I don't think you're going to, but if you did, all of a sudden, all the investment that you put in people on this journey that you've been on,
and
it actually would make things worse.
Oh, it would.
Because you have done this. So consistency is the currency.
Sure, it is. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And I think your children watch your consistency more than anybody. You can't have a set of standards for them or other people, but then yet bend it for others.
You can't.
I mean, if Chad would wash a dish, then
I
maybe get it with
that's all I do is wash it.
She let it.
But I will tell you this, though. Being a parent, a lot of times, in my opinion, makes you a better person. If you accept the responsibility and the role of being the right parent. Because, if you have
That's
children,
a good topic to discuss maybe next week,
that are watching everything you do, and they do. And people, if you don't think they are, you're wrong. They watch everything you do.
Oh, man.
So, it makes you, respond to things differently.
Yeah.
It makes you make the better decisions. It makes you live in a certain way if you care.
Yeah.
That because you're responsible for another human being.
And
Right.
what's so funny that you said too that. Can you imagine? I know before I became pregnant. I mean, before I became pregnant, before my wife.
And I hope you
before
do. This day and age, though, you never know. I will tell you this, though. Listen, man. So nowadays, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but they call them birthing. What is it called? What do they call it?
Birthing parent.
Birthing. Yeah, it's they don't say man or woman anymore, right? It's called birthing.
The machine, birthing machine.
Something. Maybe it's the birthing person or birthing.
That's good, Chris.
We could talk about this shit.
Basically, what they're saying is that men and women are both capable of carrying kids.
There's a thought nowadays where that's possible.
But
we can just direct people to other podcasts.
Let me just say, if I ever walked down the street and saw a man carrying a baby in the belly,
well, I'm telling you.
Listen, man.
Listen.
I mean, here's my thought. Here's my thought
on that. If it ever did happen, it would be a scientific
miracle.
Not a miracle.
Well,
it would be a scientific
experiment,
abomination, right? Because we decided to inject a man's body and physically alter it to where he could carry a baby. How did we get on this?
Hang on a second. So now that no, you open the door. So I want to question. I got one.
So mispronounce the word, which is opening the door. I think there's boundaries.
Well, there's no boundaries. This door's been open. So one question. So when the child is born, where does it come from?
Oh, well, right now it's impossible. However, in the future, they may be able to medically modify a human being.
I can't.
Here we go. We're coming on time.
Let's please
consistency. When I talked about that, when I was saying about being pregnant,
my mind is running all over.
Before you became a dad, did you not already have envision in your mind
before
we all got pregnant? Did you have a vision in your mind that you were going to be the greatest parent ever?
Dude.
And then you look back at it and you go, "Oh my God, who?"
We
personally, I'm like, who could have screwed up more than me?
This is what I thought. Real quick. This is what I thought. I said, man, my parents were awesome, and I want to do these things that they did, but they really messed up A, B, and C, and I'm never going to be like them. That was the only promise.
Right.
And I didn't think I was going to be the best. Yeah. I just knew these things I'm never going to do. These things I want to do. I want to try to do. I just had that going into it. And then when that kid shows up and won't sleep and just poops all the time, your wife's crazy, time is
pukes everywhere.
Your whole world revolves around
yourself
sleep,
changing diapers. Like, what is
sleep
this?
And vomit.
Why is it green?
You know what's interesting, Chad? When you get old, your life revolves around sleep, vomit, and poop. It happens at the beginning, it happens at the end.
I guess that's the way it is. In a sick world.
All right, let's go. Number four. We said self-awareness, clear communication, and consistency. We have 2 to go. All right, prioritizing self-care. Make self-care a priority in your life. Set aside the time for yourself to recharge and ensure that your needs are met.
I was having a conversation with somebody today about that because if you don't take care of yourself first and make sure that your needs are met, that you're getting adequate rest, you're getting adequate nutrition, and that you're taking care of yourself emotionally and mentally, you're not going to be any good to anybody else, especially as a parent. How can you be who you're supposed to be to anybody?
I'm very thankful for Kim helping me eat right, do some of that self-care stuff. She makes sure that takes place, right? And that I got some downtime. We go on some vacations. She kind of helps me be the gauge on that, because if it was just up to me, I would be 99% work and projects and doing stuff, and I would not slow down. I would not take the time because I don't prioritize it. So I'm very thankful for Kim making that happen. That's a good one for me to learn and think about, prioritizing that.
So, well, I will say a lot of times a good woman will make a man better, because men, a lot of times, man, I don't know about you guys, but, women like having certain things a certain way in a house.
For sure.
I just need a room. I need a refrigerator. I need a place.
Dishes washed.
And I need a toilet and a shower, right? But they got, they're able to put everything together in a way that makes you feel good about coming home, and
Kim
it's like,
makes me want to be a better man.
Well, there you go. I think you said it best. Continue on, Rusty.
He said, I want to give the example real quick of, you see it on the airplane with the ladies up there in front of the airplane doing your little oxygen mask.
Yeah.
It goes back to the old saying that in the plane, even if you have people will say, well, God, I've got my kid beside me. If one drops out, I'm giving it to my kid. And then, or maybe the older lady across the aisle. But if you don't put that mask on you first, you cannot help that kid.
Can't help
And you cannot help the older lady or anybody else on the plane.
That's what you were talking about early on. You were trying to put the mask on other people,
Yes.
and you're suffocating.
Yeah, that is
true.
true.
That's good. Last one. And last step, we're going to leave you, and then we're closing it out. We appreciate everybody watching tonight. If you like, enjoy it, subscribe to us. We try to do this thing every Sunday night, having a blast doing it, man. Number 5 is Nancy Reagan. Just say no. Learn to say no. Don't be afraid to say no when something doesn't align with your boundaries.
Absolutely.
Respectfully, Chad, you said this, respectfully decline or negotiate when necessary.
This is the one that I am the absolute worst at. And this is the one that God has had to teach me several lessons. And I am doing my best not to go around this mountain again, because this is an issue where I'm like that dog in Up. He sees a squirrel, and he just wants to run. I see a shiny, flashy object, something new. I want to go do it. I see somebody that I want to help. I had a couple of these brainiac friends that wanted to do a podcast. They're like, "Hey, man, you should come on. You should help do the podcast." And I'm like,
Wayne.
Should have said no, but no, can't do it. So, round the mountain again.
So here you are.
Keep saying yes.
So you're all over the place, essentially.
And I'm not. I have not done number 5.
Well,
I'm still saying yes.
So even so let me ask you this: so if you were medicated with what?
The springtime make vodka.
They do. It's called a 50-50 mix.
And they make antidepressants. They do.
No.
I'm
going to say no to that. All right.
So remember, when you're setting and maintaining your professional boundaries, you just said it, Jeremy. Chad, we've talked about it before. Please don't spit that water out. We don't spit water on shows.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is an ongoing process.
It's a process.
Boundaries are never set. They change all the time because life changes. It is a process. So going back over these 5, self-awareness, clear communication, number 2. Number 3, consistency. Number 4, prioritizing self-care. Number 5, learn to say no, and it is a work in progress. Give yourself a break. All right, cut yourself a little slack. I have two new boundaries to put up after tonight. Just kidding.
Mine are already up.
I love these guys.
Oh, man.
And
This is fun.
It was a great show.
You want to pray us out,
great.
man?
Yeah.
You ready to go? You ready to pray us out?
I think so. Yeah, we're at the 42-minute mark. It's been a good night. Thanks for everybody watching. Donnie, see you all, man. Evo, Sandy, thank y'all so much, man. Love you guys. And you guys who are watching on live on the YouTube, I can't see.
What do you see the time? Okay, I see it now.
I can't see who they are, but
I see
Garrett,
42.
do the dishes, son.
Yeah,
Or Uncle Russ is going to come back and be your roommate. You don't want that again.
please do the dishes.
That's Uncle, you want to pray out tonight?
I think that says Russ.
Russ,
You'll have
final
it.
prayer.
I have it
Pray.
tonight. Yeah, let's
Pray
pray
it out, man.
Okay, Lord, right now I just thank you for Chad and Jeremy tonight, Lord. Thank you for the technology that you've given us. Lord, it's something the enemy meant for evil, Lord, and we can use it for good. For Father, getting your word out there in just an uncommon kind of way, Lord. Just everyday men, women, just modern day, no religious talk, Father. We ask you, anybody who's having a hard time setting boundaries, maybe they never have, Father, that it comes easy, and they realize that this is a step that they need to take, Lord, that you want us to take. You want us to take because we are no good to anyone else if we are not taking care of ourselves first. And that's not meant to be selfish, Lord. It's just meant to be common sense. We love and praise you for the opportunity. We pray for everybody out here watching and not watching. Someone watch this a year from now, Lord. Just help those boundaries to stay around those people. We send a hedge of protection of angels around them, the guys here with me and their families. And Lord, just help everyone have a great week. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Boop, 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 boop.